Cloudiness tonight, and it'll stay humid and
All right,
breezy,
Sergio,
lows in the
you open it.
mid-70s. Tomorrow will be much like today, times of both clouds and sun, very warm, humid and breezy, highs from the low to upper 90s. Thursday, mostly sunny, not quite as hot, highs from 85 to 91. And right now, 94.
Remember, folks, no talking during the break, okay?
News at the top and bottom of the hour and when it breaks, and on demand at KURV.com. I'm Tim Sullivan, 710 KURV.
From the R Communications Broadcast Center in McAllen, Texas, this is a News Talk 710 KURV special.
It's showtime!
This is KURV Community Special Edition.
Let's do this!
This KURV special is powered by Bert, Ogden, and Fiesta dealerships of the Rio Grande Valley and associate sponsor, Lone Star National Bank.
Well, look who it is.
Here's Sergio Sanchez.
All right, folks, thank you for joining us today. I'm Sergio Sanchez. I am at the KURV HQ in McAllen, but I'm locked in my own office for safety reasons, as is everyone else, remotely broadcasting today. Normally, you'd be hearing the drive home on KURV, but this is a special program since, man, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to employment, unemployment, business lending. It is the reality of the moment that we all share right now, this COVID-19 season. Again, a very big thank you to our supporter today, our main supporter, BertOgden.com, and I'll say it in website form so you can go get the information that you need for everything. Used vehicles, that's BertOgden.com, Fiesta dealerships, and our associate sponsor as well, Lone Star National Bank. They've been with us from the beginning as well, answering a lot of questions related to the PPP and SBA lending. Our guests today, of course, we also have the KURV Drive Home panel. Roxanne is with us, Roxanne Flores, Davis Rankin, and our guest to help bring information that we do believe is hopeful to all of y'all. Mike Gonzalez from Worforce Solutions. Angela Burton is joining us from the SBA office, and Ed Serna is director of our Texas Workforce office, joining us from Austin. Angela, we will start with you, and I will pitch to Roxanne Flores so we can start this conversation. Go ahead, Roxanne.
I first want to thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate each and every one of you guys taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today for this community special edition. My first question for you, it's a small business.
Hi, Roxanne and Sergio. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you all today and to talk about small business and the Small Business Administration and our programs. To answer your question, what constitutes a small business? As a rule of thumb, we look at the number of employees, although some businesses could go by revenues, but as a rule of thumb, a business that has less than 500 employees could be considered a small business.
What are the requirements, Ms. Angie, for small businesses? What requirements do they need to meet to qualify for that payroll, that paycheck protection program that is all in the news?
Well, that's a loaded question. So the Paycheck Protection Program relies on, or the intent of it is to make sure small businesses can keep their folks on payroll. So when you're looking at the Paycheck Protection Program, you're looking at the number of employees an employer had at a specific time. Once you work with your lender, your SBA authorized lender, and you talk to that lender and you tell them, okay, this is the number of employees I have, this is what our payroll looks like, you must have that same amount at the end of an 8-week period. The qualifications are varied, so it's kind of a loaded question.
Pretty much it's a W-2, right, Angie, what people show up with to their lender? These are the employees that I had
yes.
On which date do they need to prove that they have those employees?
The date would be February 20th, I believe, or 15th, something like that.
Okay.
And depending on your business structure, would be the various different types of documents that you would need to prove the number of employees, or even if you're a sole proprietor, if it's just yourself, there are a variety of documents. Those could be the IRS form 940, 941, and items like that.
I want to jump in here real quick and just ask a question for you, Angela, or whoever can answer the question. If a small business doesn't have any employees, like your mom and pop shops that just have themselves running their business, do they apply for the PPP, or is there another loan option for them?
Yes, they are eligible to apply for the PPP if they wish. It's self-employed with no employees. There is also the economic injury disaster loan that they may apply for. Although at this time the portal for that one is closed, but it would, I think that it will be open. Obviously, we haven't given a specific time frame.
Why, Angie? Why is that portal for the economic injury loan? Why is that closed?
Well, we have folks that are working 24/7. We had such a large influx of applications that I think they're trying to make sure that they get through those applications and make sure that they get those through before they open the portal again.
Can I add? I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Ed Serna, with a director of Texas Workforce from Austin. Yes, Ed.
As self-employed individuals, the CARES Act, which was signed a couple of weeks back by the president and became law, brings self-employed and contract employees, 1099 employees into the system, into our system. We describe that as pandemic unemployment assistance. So that individual, that example that you gave of a mom and pop, no employees, may also be eligible for pandemic unemployment assurance or assistance, rather.
Okay.
I'm not going to call that unemployment insurance because that is for workers, but this is a whole nother class that is it's available to them exclusively because of the CARES Act.
Can you mention one more time the name of it? Pandemic what?
Sure. It's called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. And it's as a result of the CARES Act that was signed right at the end of March, that last Friday in March by the president. So I guess it's described as the third federal package that was passed, the most recent being the fourth.
So if someone wanted to look into the pandemic unemployment assistance, and this is Davis Rankin, that would be what they tell the person when they show up in person or when they call on the telephone?
Yes, sir. But they don't show up in person. There's only two ways to file a claim for either unemployment insurance or pandemic unemployment assistance. And they don't have to worry about knowing that it's pandemic unemployment assistance or PUA or anything like that. All they have to do is either call us, which would be a little bit of a challenge, I'll be the first to admit, because of the number of people that have been calling to get assistance, or go online. If they go to our website, we have information there at twc.texas.gov. They can get general information, and they can also apply for benefits. And when they are applying, they follow the exact same route as someone applying for unemployment.
Now, do you know, Mr. Serna, if this pandemic unemployment assistance will also be forgiven? Because you've been told by people in Washington that if you use the PPP program for what it's intended to, which is to keep your employers on payroll or your employees on payroll, you don't got to pay it back. So if you don't have employees, what do you do?
Well, first of all, this is not the same program. This has nothing to do with the PPP or Small Business Administration. This is not due back. This is sort of a one-way benefit to individuals who qualify. And by individuals who qualify, I mean if you're self-employed, if you are a contract employee, so someone who receives a 1099, or if you're an employee of a nonprofit. Those three groups do not traditionally qualify for unemployment insurance, but they do now. and there is no payback for this. This is
How much money are we talking about, Ed?
well, it's based on your income. The minimum weekly benefit is $207 plus the $600
Oh, I see. The unemployment.
of pandemic unemployment compensation. So there's two components to it. There's the base amount based on your income, and then there's the $600 that everybody that is either on unemployment insurance or pandemic unemployment assistance would receive on top of their base benefit.
Yeah, we're talking about two different streams. Well, one is the unemployment benefit plus the $600 weekly, and we had Angela Burton from SBA telling us about the payroll, the Paycheck Protection Program. Let me reintroduce everybody now. If we probably picked up a little bit more audience now in the first 10, 15 minutes of the program. I'm Sergio Sanchez. You're listening to a KURV Community Special Edition, as we've been promising for days now, with host Roxanne Flores, Davis Rankin. You see also Ed Serna, Director of Texas Workforce, joining us from Austin. Angela Burton is with the South Texas Office of the Small Business Administration. Mike Gonzalez from Workforce Solutions joining us as well. Mike, I want to bring you into the conversation. What role does your employment office, now Ed represents the unemployment office, you are the employment side of it. What role do you play in this COVID economy and that we're trying to escape at the moment?
Right. Thanks, Sergio. So essentially, the role that Workforce Solutions plays in this entire job ecosystem at this point in time is the role of the employment agency. We work with job seekers once they have applied with TWC for their unemployment insurance benefits, and we connect them with the employers in our area who currently need assistance in recruitment.
So is that just me, or did I lose a connection with Mike there for a second?
No, I think he finished.
Okay, that's fine.
Let me. I think I can
Go
add
ahead,
a
Ed.
little. I think I can
Ed
add.
Serna with Texas Workforce. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry for interrupting you.
That's
I
right.
think I can add a little bit more because the Workforce Commission does both unemployment insurance as well as employment services. So Mike is in one of 28 boards we have around the state. Those are independent boards. They're not a division of TWC. They're independent boards, but we work hand in hand with them.
The Workforce Solutions boards.
Yes, sir. Workforce Solutions Board. The Texas Workforce Solutions System, which is the 28 boards plus TWC, is responsible for employment services, which is exactly as he described, linking individuals who are looking for a job with employers who are hiring. We also provide through our boards training. Now is a good time for people who are maybe in between jobs or waiting for their job to come back to probably reach out to receive some training. All those board offices are open. We also provide childcare services to qualified individuals. TWC does through the board childcare services to qualified individuals, and that's about 130 in normal times, about 136,000 kids a day.
Yeah.
And then we also provide services to individuals with disabilities who are looking to get either a little help or some skills so that they can get a job also. So TWC is engaged in all that. It's not like we just do unemployment and
yeah.
Somebody else.
I apologize for putting you
that's
in the
okay.
corner so much, but you did open up a bit of a Pandora's box. I was reading an article this afternoon on the challenge that the daycare folks are facing because, well, they had to close, right? And they got to bring all these people back here pretty soon because we're hoping that people go to work and then they call for childcare. Let's visit that in just a second. We're approaching 20 minutes after the hour, and let's go ahead and take our first quick break, just 2 minutes, and then we'll continue our conversation. I'm Sergio Sanchez, along with Roxanne Flores, Davis Rankin. You're listening to a special broadcast on 710 KURV. KURV Community Special Edition. We're talking about workforce issues, unemployment issues, and of course the PPP, Payroll Paycheck Protection Program. They put more money in that cookie jar, so you stay with us. If you have any questions, and I suspect that some of you all do not call the 800 line because Joe Salinas will do what he does best. Ignore your call when you call into the 800 line. Why don't you email me, please? Don't disconnect me, Joe. Don't you dare disconnect me. Email me, Sergio at KURV.com, SERGIO at KURV.com, Sergio at KURV.com. I will see your question on my very expensive, beautiful little iPhone that I already dropped and cracked, put a little crack on the screen. So I'll see your question. And if you are worthy, then I will ask the question of our guest. Thank you for joining us on Newstalk 710 KURV.
Today's KURV special broadcast is made possible by Bert Ogden Fiesta dealerships at bertogden.com. Our guest right now is Miss Marsha Green. The buying opportunities, what do you have available right now at Bert Ogden?
The online shopping has been implemented strongly the past 2 years. And now we've had 2 years of time to really get this perfected. And so much of it can be done all online. What this has now allowed us to do is just to absolutely perfect it, where whatever product that you're looking for, out of all of the different 22 brands that we have, you can start and pretty much complete your process online. And then you have the opportunity to have it delivered to your home, or we have particular areas curbside at every single one of the stores, as little as contact as possible.
Because of interest rates the way things are right now. Well, I imagine this is a really good time to finance.
This is an unprecedented time, Sergio. We have never before, during the GM strike back in the 80s and this recession back in the 08, 09, has the automotive industry that drives our country pretty much seen finance opportunities like this. I mean, how can you ever deny that getting 0% interest for up to 7 years is something that could ever get better?
Wow.
It's pretty impressive.
That is, that's the best I've ever heard.
Not only does some of these brands, General Motors specifically, have this 0% for 7 years, plus they're offering no payments for 4 months. That is a really big game changer also for families right now who are trying to make ends meet.
Get us to the other side of that long tunnel for a lot of people. That's a really good idea. That's very good. Websites.
The easiest way for anybody to get this started is to simply click bertogden.com. That is our homepage, and you will find every single one of our brands, plus all of our certified used inventory, all of our pre-owned.
Bert Ogden Fiesta dealerships, bertogden.com.
Your Fox News station for the Valley. This is News Talk 710 KURV.
KURV time is 4:23, T-minus 37 minutes and counting for the special broadcast, KURV Community Special Edition, presented by bertogden.com. and our friends at all the Bert Ogden Fiesta dealerships, Mike Gonzalez, Workforce Solutions, Angela Burton from the SBA, and Ed Serna, Director of Texas Workforce, my guest right now. Mike, back to you real quick from Workforce Solutions, one of 28, as Ed was mentioning, one of 28 Workforce Solutions offices across the state of Texas. You cover the area which is, if I remember correctly, Willacy, Hidalgo, and Starr County. Cameron works, they got their own office as well. Mike, this COVID-19 season, how has it changed what you do day to day? What did you have to adjust? What are you doing different?
So a lot of people, once again, have come to know Workforce Solutions for our job fairs, our hiring events. These were events that we would host on a weekly basis, almost daily basis. And our events typically bring in a good amount of job seekers, and they were largely successful. However, at this point in time, we are trying our best to encourage social distancing. We want to make sure that we're not putting our community in positions that they don't have to be if they can secure employment from the safety of their own home, for example. So the shift that Workforce Solutions, Lower Rio, has been focusing on has been the transition from our services being offered in person to entirely online, virtually via wfsolutions.org and other means of connecting with our community like Facebook. Facebook has been such an invaluable tool to the community these days, especially in the role that we play. And I want to say applications like that and Zoom are really facilitating our day-to-day workflow during these unprecedented times, we're working with what we've got right now. And I want to say that we're doing a pretty good job so far of helping out the people who need help. And I want to remind any of the listeners out there right now who are in search of employments to visit our website, wfsolutions.org. We have a lot of opportunities there with employers that need help with the recruitment assistance. And if you're on Facebook, you can go ahead and like and follow our jobs page at RGV Operation Get Hired. These guys are posting job postings every hour or so. And we are making our announcements for our virtual job fair series live on this page. And if any job seekers are interested in trying that out, they can reach out to that page and get registered for those events.
Mike Gonzalez is with Workforce Solutions. We're joined as well by Ed Serna, Director of Texas Workforce in Austin. Angela Burton with the SBA. The questions are coming in pretty quick. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Mr. Renee, Angela is asking this question on behalf of a business. Mr. Renee is asking Miss Angela this question. What if a company, Miss Angela, what if a company gets the payroll, paycheck protection money, but actually has the means to pay employees the next 2 months? What about that?
Repeat the question.
If a company takes the PPP money, but they can't afford to pay their employees the next 2 months, what happens to that company? Is that okay?
As far as I know, as long as they're as long as they use the money that they received from their lender for PPP, and they employ the same amount of folks at the same level of pay for 8 weeks after receiving their PPP, then yes, they are entitled to forgiveness. There's
another SBA PPP question that came in from an email from New Start School. Sounds to me like it's a daycare. So here's the gist of it. It's kind of a long question, but this business owner, looks like it's a daycare or a little school. Due to the delays in opening, this business, looks like a school or a daycare, was closed late March. And this business owner has not brought back the employees because of the stay-at-home edicts from the county. This business owner, this looks like a school or a daycare, plans to reopen this coming Monday, May 4th. And she's asking, before my PPP loan can be forgiven, I need to pay 75% of this PPP in wages, but I may not get back to full employment 75%. What happens then if she's not back at 75% payroll by the time she goes online on Monday? Does that affect her negatively to get this forgiven?
I would suggest she try to get back to the level, even if she has to hire someone.
Hire other people.
Yes, to stay at the same level as, because she got a forgivable loan at a amount that she's expected to have employed folks. If she got an amount for 10 folks, $10,000 a month, then at the end of those 8 weeks, she needs to have 10 folks employed with $10,000 in payroll. So she, her forgiveness will fluctuate, but she can always hire someone.
Call los primos, call los tios, call whoever you can, put them on payroll, try to get back to that number. You just need to show the same amount of warm bodies when you go back online. And I remember this in our conversation from our associate sponsor and supporter. I remember Mr. David Deanda saying that you can work with the bank before you receive the loan, before you receive the money. Schedule with the bank is when you've been approved, you still have about, well, at least with them, with LSNB, you had 10 days to receive the money. So that might give you another 10 days. By the time you are informed, am I correct, Angie? By the time you're informed that you got it, you still got a few more days.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. As soon
That's
as
okay.
the loan is originated, the lender has 10 days to fund you.
There we
So
go.
yes, absolutely.
The time is
Um,
4:30. You're listening to KURV Community Special Edition. We're trying to answer as many questions from you. I appreciate, I'm getting a little flood of questions here. I'm trying to work through them as quickly as I can. My email, sergio@kurv.com. sergio@kurv.com. Our guest for this special program, Mike Gonzalez from Worforce Solutions. As you just heard, Angela Burton from the Small Business Administration, our South Texas office. And from Austin, Director of Texas Workforce is Ed Serna. I'm Sergio Sanchez, along with Roxanne Davis. We appreciate you tuning in today. And thank you very much to our Bert Ogden family, bertogden.com, Fiesta Dealerships, and yes, friends over at Lone Star National Bank for constantly answering the phone and answering our questions. We're going to take a small break again for 2 minutes. We'll be back with more of your questions. It's the email, sergio@kurv.com.
Today's broadcast is made possible by Bert Ogden Fiesta Dealerships, bertogden.com. Our guest, Miss Marsha Green.
So if you searched our Bert Ogden pre-owned website, you will find 893 certified pre-owned vehicles in stock right now. And Bert Ogden is the only dealership in the Valley that certified every single one of our used cars. We can certify anything that we don't sell. That has a guaranteed certified promise behind each one of what we put these pre-owned cars through in their safety and quality check.
Can you share that with me a little bit?
When we certified any pre-owned product, it includes a 12-month or 12,000 miles of full coverage on mechanical and electrical repairs,
Okay.
followed by the powertrain coverage of 6 years. It gets a multi-point inspection. It's called the 1212 Ultimate Coverage, followed by 72 or 100,000 mile powertrain. We have a rental and car towing roadside assistance that includes the jump start, fluid delivery, and a lockout service. Even if we don't sell it new, we sell it certified. If we don't sell Ford, well, if we have a Ford used product, we'll certify it. And so you have that peace of mind from Bert Ogden. That goes for the luxury brands that we don't carry, basically anything. If you go to bertogden.com and you do click on the pre-owned tab, you can view them in a refined sort of way. If you are looking for something very economical, 10,000 and under, if you want luxury, if you want SUV, or specifically trucks, all of those tabs will isolate it and narrow it down for you just a little tighter. That's how I bought one of my vehicles, was sight unseen online, and just looked at the undercarriage and the tread on each of the tires. I was very pleased. It worked for me.
Marsha Green from Bert Ogden Fiesta Dealerships. Find them online at bertogden.com.
The Digital Goddess, Kim Commando. Weekends on News Talk 710 KURV.
Time is 4:34, and you are listening to News Talk 710 KURV, a special program, KURV Community Special Edition. I'm Sergio Sanchez, along with Roxanne Flores, Davis Rankin, and I know you can't see our Zoom broadcast, but we got Zach Cantu, the evil radio genius, sewing and keeping everything together behind the scenes as far as a little page that we're doing. Thank you, Zach, for everything you're doing behind the scenes. Good looking boy. I keep telling him, go get a haircut, shave your beard, but hey, all the salons are closed right now, so what are we going to do? Our guest, Mike Gonzalez, Worforce Solutions, Angela Burton, SBA, and Ed Serna is with the Texas Workforce. Ed, let me throw this one at you. Listeners they're sending in quite a few questions. And by the way, T-minus, 26 minutes until we finish this broadcast. So please send in your questions ASAP, sergio@kurv.com. Ed, this is for you. I recently went on a 20% paid, had 20% pay decrease. Is there help for anyone in my position? I have been told I still make too much money. Is there some type of limit? That from Mr. Raul. What do you say, Ed?
Well, they may still qualify, and I would recommend to them that they, first of all, go to our website. We have there's a little estimator tool that they can use to determine whether they qualify or not. But I would emphasize that individuals who are working part-time, they reduce their hours or were asked to reduce hours by their employer, may still qualify for unemployment insurance. Plus, if they do qualify for that minimum unemployment insurance, then they'll also get the $600 on top of that. So, and even if they qualify for just a dollar or a couple of dollars, the minimum weekly is about $65 or $68 a week, plus the $600.
Let me lob this one at you, Ms. Burton, Angela Burton, Small Business Administration, because I suspect you might know about this one. Hello, folks. I have a rental property and 4 tenants. Sadly enough, they are no longer conducting business or paying rents. Man, I hope this is not an example of small businesses that have died. But he says, I have a rental property, 4 tenants no longer conducting business, not paying rent. What type of help is available for me? Ms. Burton?
Historically, under our 7A programs, rental properties do not qualify, but I would love to research a little further and ask this individual to contact me at angela.burton@sba.gov, and I'll be glad to look into it for you.
Give me the email.
There have been
one more time, Angela.
Sorry.
And she answers
Yes.
the email, by the way, real quick. Miss Angela Burton from SBA. Give me the email one more time, Angela.
It's angela.burton@sba.gov. And also, while we're giving out addresses, I'd like to give everyone our website so they can go in and look through our website, which is www.sba.gov/coronavirus. And that will also talk about the various COVID-19 funding programs that we have available.
I have a question real quick that I wanted to ask, going back to the PPP and the small businesses. If a small business just doesn't know who to contact first, whether they are a business with multiple employees or your mom and pop shop with no employees, but just maybe husband and wife owned business, or the renter, for example, who do they contact first? What should be the first steps they should take?
Yes, they should contact their lender. We have a variety of 7A authorized lenders that are, the PPP actually is done through your lender. So I'd ask them to contact their lender. But obviously, if they have any questions whatsoever, they can always contact our office at 956-427-8533, or again, send me an email, and we'd be glad to help them through the process.
Okay.
But yes, for PPP, you go directly to your lender.
All right. Thank you.
This is Davis Rankin. Obviously, then if people don't have a lender or their lender they don't want to deal with, they have to go find another banking relationship. Are all banks willing to do this, to make a loan to continue in business?
Yes. Well, that's a great question. We also have on our website, or folks can call my office. We have lenders that are SBA 7A authorized lenders to do the PPP if they don't want to deal specifically with their lender. So again, go to our website, or you can call the office and we'd be glad to walk you through it.
Very happy. I know I'm very happy to put a plug in for Lone Star National Bank. David DeAnda. He's been answering every call and joining us on air. So he's one of the few local banks participating, Lone Star National Bank. Just FYI, you don't need to be banking with them. Just set up an appointment. They got a number you can call and start that conversation and get that PPP. I would imagine that PPP money is going to disappear real quick. The last cycle, Ms. Burton, how many days before PPP was exhausted? That jar was in?
13 days.
13 days.
Yeah, I think it was $434 billion.
Whoa.
You're listening to
No,
KURV.
I'm sorry, $342 billion, making $1.6 million worth of loans.
How much, Ms. Burton, this is Davis Rankin again, Angela Burton with the Small Business Administration here in the Valley. How much of that money came through here? Were you able to handle?
I can tell you, Texas, I don't have the actual data for our district, but there were 135,000 PPP loans totaling 28.5 billion done in Texas.
You're listening to a special program on KURV Radio. We finished this edition at 5 p.m. KURV Community Special Edition. It's presented by BertOgden.com. It's Fiesta Dealerships. Our guest, Mike Gonzalez with Workforce Solutions at Serna with Texas Workforce Office, joining us from Austin, and Angela Burton from the SBA. Your questions, very welcome right now. Sergio at KURV.com. I need to get to a couple real quick. Mr. Ed, back to you. If a person gets a gig, some type of gig, side money, I don't know, driving, delivering something, but is also receiving unemployment benefits, has that person surrendered the unemployment check?
No, sir, not at all. All they need to do when they're already receiving funds, every 2 weeks they call in to request a payment again. We call it a continuing claim. All they need to do is report the income that they earn. I can't stress enough that if you get a part-time job, a gig job, whatever, just report the income to us. It may adjust your base benefit, but it will not affect the $600. But it's very important that you report that income to us, because if you don't, we'll find out that you did in fact make that money, and then you'll owe the state back the difference in the funds that you received when you didn't report it.
I have another unemployment benefit question. An individual who seems to be between a rock and a hard place, Mr. K, saying that I exhausted my unemployment benefits last year. I was very close to getting a job when everything happened and everything shut down. And says I am unable to get through a phone line, TWC. Just wondering if I'm eligible for any type of benefit. Should I bother trying to speak with somebody at TWC?
You should bother to speak with us, but you don't have to worry about trying to get through right now. The CARES Act, again, signed at the end of March, extended benefits. It'll extend benefits for anybody whose benefits either have already exhausted, like this example, or whose benefits are going to exhaust. It extends benefits up to 13 weeks. We know those individuals whose benefits have exhausted or who are about to exhaust. We'll be sending information out to them, so they don't need to worry about trying to call in, but we'll send information out to them. Their benefits will get extended. And then they will also be eligible for that extra $600 every week.
Would it help to speed things up to try to get through to someone at TWC?
If they get through right now, they probably still wouldn't get the benefits extended any quicker. We've already got their information. It'll actually help us if they didn't try to call in, because we have a lot of individuals who are still trying to file initial claims. We, on average, get anywhere from between 800,000 to a little bit over 1 million calls a day. We've had a couple of days where we received over 2 million calls. Now, we can't answer all those calls physically. We have close to 1,200 people answering phones incoming in 8 call centers, 4 that we run and 4 that are contractors. But it's physically impossible. You know, you take the $2 million call day, that's about 60 calls a second. And an average call, we spend time working with our customers, and an average call takes between 15 and 20 minutes. You can already see that you're never going to get to all those calls. So if you, that situation, I'd recommend that you just kind of wait till you get the instructions from us. Don't try to call in, because you're clogging the line and preventing somebody who needs to file an initial claim, whether you're self-employed or an individual who's been working and just been let go, even temporarily.
You've hired a whole bunch of people to try to meet the demand, haven't you?
We've hired people and we have contracted for people. We contracted with 4 outside call centers that currently have brought on board about 1,020, and ultimately they'll have 1,200 plus the 400 that we have Plus, we've transferred people from inside TWC. We've gotten some volunteers from other state agencies to help us with some outbound calls as well.
I'm afraid to ask what the learning curve is for that position. How long does it take? Because can you imagine the type of questions that an individual gets? Oh, I don't know. Let me ask my supervisor. That's going to extend the phone call even longer.
Right.
I have a question.
Go ahead, David.
It's probably, I think it's at least a repeat in part, but we all know people, I guess, who, I would say, are able to eat what they kill. They are, for whatever reason, totally freelance, paid in cash typically, and now maybe they're not getting paid in cash because people who had hired them to do whatever themselves don't have the money. They have no way to prove, I would think, anything. What do they do?
Well, that's going to be the big challenge. Normally, for proof of income, we require the 2019 tax return with the schedules. There are people who have, and I'm going to specifically answer your question, Davis, if I can call you that, by your first name.
Yes, you can.
Thank you, sir. We normally require the 2019 tax return with the schedules. A lot of people, because the IRS has moved out the filing deadline to July, haven't done it yet. Or you have individuals like you described. Here's the situation. If you call us, can identify yourself as self-employed or contract employee, then you'll probably receive the minimum $207 a week plus the $600. When you do file your tax return with the schedules, if you send us that tax return, we'll examine it. And if necessary, we will adjust your benefit upward, and we will compensate you that difference for the lapsed period of time. So let's say you get through, you get your benefits started in a couple of weeks, but you don't file your tax return until July. Then you send it to us, and we notice, well, instead of the 207, we should have been paying you 250 or 300. We'll send you that difference, and then we'll pay you that higher amount until those benefits exhaust, which is sometimes.
Is there a clawback then if they made less than no?
No, so there's no callback. The 207 is a minimum. The only clawback, the overpayment would be if you got a gig job that was, question described earlier or something like that, and you failed to report that income to us, and then we found that you had that income, then we would calculate the difference, and you would owe us that difference back. And by the way, this is not intended to sound threatening or anything. It's just a statement of fact. We don't forgive debts, so it sits there. It will wait. And if you come back into the system at some point in the future, years in the future, for unemployment or something else, and you get money due to you, we will deduct what is due to the state, to us, before we pay you those benefits.
There we go. Uncle Sam always going to get his money, and so is Steele, Texas, always going to get his money as well.
How long?
Let me take a break, gang. We got about 8 minutes left of the program, so hang on to your questions. Let's take one of our final breaks. As you can see, Ed Serna is Director of Texas Workforce. Ms. Angela Burton from the Small Business Administration Office, South Texas. Also, a big thank you to Mike Gonzalez from Workforce Solutions. I'm Sergio Sanchez, along with Roxanne Flores Davis Rankin. You are listening to a special broadcast on 710 KURV. It is the Community Special Edition made possible by BertOgden.com and Fiesta Dealerships.
For a few days now, I've been mentioning how folks at Bert Ogden, Fiesta Dealerships, while you're at the hospital or you're at the office, in law enforcement, whatever you're doing, you're out there working, they can come and get your vehicle. As you're working, they're working on your vehicle too. Our guest right now, Marsha Green. So tell me about the safety measures that you put into place.
I must say that our CEO, Natasha Del Barrio, has implemented not only the strict guidelines that have been put forth by the federal government, the state government, county government, she has gone the extra 10th mile and implemented our own personal customer and employee safety measures. She authorized us to go out and purchase for use for customers and employee workstations, these antimicrobial fog machines. the entire stores, any place where there's customer contact, all the automobiles that we have for test drives have been thoroughly cleaned before and after each test drive. So she's narrowed it down to one particular car of every model. So if you came in looking for a blue AT4 and we showed you a white AT4, well, that's just for your safety, our safety, the employee's safety. You may not get to drive the blue one. If you wanted the blue, you may drive the white one, but it's exactly like the one. And that's just to kind of keep strict safety measures in place for disinfection purposes.
On the service side, I understand you're doing pre-work and post-work disinfection as well, disinfecting.
Yes. Service customers, we have curbside drop-off, and you can imagine we're adhering to all strict sanitary guidelines as far as the mask, the gloves, and the steering wheel covers, anything that you can imagine that has customer contact and technician contact. We want the technicians to be just as healthy. Everybody from start to finish is protected.
Today's KURV special broadcast is made possible by Bert Ogden Fiesta dealerships at BertOgden.com.
Your home for Fox News Radio and Rush Limbaugh. News Talk 710 KURV.
KURV News Time is 4:51. You're listening to a KURV Community Special Edition. I'm Sergio Sanchez, along with the KURV crew. Roxanne Fotis, Davis Rankin, Zach Cantu behind the scenes, taking care of all the online stuff. And of course, with the mighty Joe Salinas is steering the ship on the radio. A very big thank you to folks who joined us today. Mike Gonzalez from Workforce Solutions, Miss Angela Burton from the Small Business Administration, Ed Serna, Director of Texas Workforce up in Austin. I know, Roxanne, I interrupted you. You had a question for Mr. Serna. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, how long does it take for someone to receive their unemployment benefits from the moment they file? How long would that take? Your microphone, Mr. Serna.
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Sorry,
you
I did that so I wouldn't be making noise while anything else was on. I apologize. I'm not used to all this. From the time they file, it's not normally very long until they receive from us what's called they get a notice from us that says you contact us to request payment, and it'll be on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday based on the last 2 digits of your Social Security number. If you happen to miss your day, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are open days.
Okay.
You request payment, and then it normally takes about 14 to 21 days for us to either make a direct deposit or to send you a debit card. And we issue the debit card, or not we, but the bank that we are contracted with issues the debit card. So it normally takes 14 to 21 days from the date that you request payment, which is different from the day that you file your claim. And the reason there's a little bit of a difference there is when you file your claim, even though we know the majority of people are being let go because of COVID-19, we have oil field employees that are being let go now because of the price of a barrel of oil. And there are still some individuals who are let go with cause. And if you get let go with cause, maybe you kicked your manager or something, then you're not eligible for unemployment insurance. So we still check with the employer. Then we issue you your statement to request the date that you request payment, and then we go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Davis, I want to give you a chance, one last swing at the piñata, if you have a final question for our guests.
I suppose this would be the question would be in a form of an opportunity to exhort people, as frustrating as it is to get through to your, Mr. Serna, your organization or any of the others right now. How long is this going to be going on? How long will all this be available to us?
Unemployment insurance benefits will be available indefinitely. There's no limit on that. The pandemic unemployment assistance ends in July. However, we will pay retroactive on the pandemic unemployment insurance. We pay retroactive to the first week in April. That's when it first became available to us. It wasn't available before then because the CARES Act had not been signed by the president. Unemployment insurance goes back to the date of your separation, and we will actually calculate it not based on when you finally get through, but we will calculate it based on the date of your separation, when you were let go by your employer or furloughed by your employer, or you had your hours reduced by your employer. And then your first payment or so will get you all caught up. Okay. The $600 starts at the beginning of April and will run through the end of July. One thing I would like to note very quickly, not take too much time, is you're right. It is very difficult, very challenging. We talked about it earlier to get through on the telephones. But I would like to point out that the majority of people, and we've had about 1.8 million claims that we processed. The majority of those, more than 95% or about 95%, come to us online. Our online system is available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Wow.
The minority of those, the smaller number, is via the telephones. And our phone banks, our call centers, are open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the only struggle we have there is very frustrating for us, because we know we can help you when we get to talk to you, is just the sheer volume of people that are calling.
So is there an advantage to call early Sunday morning instead of calling on a Monday?
You know, there are advantages to calling at off times. I know of individuals who tried on a Friday and were unable to get in, and then they called on a Saturday morning, another called on a Sunday morning, and had no trouble getting in, got their claim filed, checked with their employer. A couple of days later, they were getting that notice on the date when they should file, and they did that, and we probably got funds depositing in their account here in about the next couple of days, and all that happened within about less than 3 weeks. So,
what if an employer calls an employee back, that employee is on unemployment? Does that affect the benefits in any way? Say, hey, I'm open again. You got to come back.
A minute.
The choice of the employee, right?
Well, if the employer calls and says, hey, look, come back. I can't hire you full time. It's going to be part time, but we need to start the business again. All you need to do is report your wages, and we adjust your UI benefit. You still get the $600. We adjust the UI benefit, and now you've already started your employment back up.
All right.
I will tell you one very quick thing. I'm sorry. We are looking, because of this very unique situation that we're in with this pandemic emergency, the COVID emergency, we are looking at our criteria for someone turning down suitable employment. Normally, unless you have one of 2 or 3 very few reasons, if you turn down suitable employment, you may not be eligible. I'm not saying that you're not, but you may not be eligible for unemployment insurance. But we are looking at ways to expand that, because these are unprecedented times. This is an unprecedented circumstance.
But that's something you might need to review down the road, right?
We're actually reviewing it right now
already. All right.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Serna, thank you, sir. Mr. Ed Serna, Texas Workforce, the office up in Austin. Ms. Burton, thank you. We'll be calling you again. Ms. Angela, thank you so much for allowing us a few minutes. Angela Burton with SBA. Mike Gonzalez, Workforce Solutions. Folks, we'll be calling you again for more interviews here on KURV. And a very big thank you to our supporters. Let me close with a final word for our sponsor, which is BertOgden.com, the Fiesta dealerships. You heard Ms. Marsha Green mention, of course, you can go online, BertOgden.com.
1 minute.
You can take a look at the pre-owned vehicles that they inspect. Right now, what they're most proud of is the pickup and delivery for folks who are frontline, first responders, medical industry. Folks, if you have anything that you need to take care of, for example, I talk a lot about Cadillacs on my program. I do a lot of Bert Ogden Cadillac conversations. As you are at the hospital,
30 seconds.
At the police department, wherever it is that you're working day to day, call Bert Ogden Cadillac.com, and I say it in the website form, BertOgdenCadillac.com. They will pick up, drop off your vehicle for service. Everything nice and clean.
20.
They'll clean before, they'll clean right after. A very big thank you to the Bert Ogden family Fiesta dealerships, and also we'll be speaking next hour with Lone Star National Bank. I'm Sergio Sanchez. Thank you for tuning in to KURV.
History is unfolding, and you're listening to it on News Talk 710 KURV, Edinburgh, a station operated by R Communications, LLC.
I will be probably calling one of you three very soon because I know we have so many more questions. That hour went by like that.
Yeah, right.
I think we need to do it again or get you guys individually on at least the afternoon show.
Sure. I'd be more than glad to because there's a ton of other information. Plus, I'm really concerned about fraud. We need to make that people kind of aware of that. That's already happening. If y'all ever get the opportunity to mention to your listeners, there's only 2 ways to file for unemployment, whether it's pandemic or regular UI. That is through our website or through our call centers. There are a couple of people that have spoofed our website, but more importantly, there are people who have put up quote generic applications on Facebook, and they're getting people's information. They're not sending us the claims. We couldn't do anything with it anyway. And now they've grabbed all of your identity information. So we're very concerned about that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely have you guys on.
All right.
Thank you.
Folks,
I have so much more
Thank
to
you
say
very much.
as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I'll bring it back to the talk shows, and Roxanne will as well. We
Yeah,
have a lot to talk about.
Miss Burton
Thank
as
you.
well. We haven't had you on the program, so we would like, again, I'm going to call all 3 of y'all and we'll have you individually.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to reset now. For anybody tuning in online, we're going to reset and do the drive home up next.
It's good.